pharmacopoeia. What is meant by pharmacopoeia and its types? So basically, your pharmacopoeia, the word pharmacopoeia is derived from the Greek word or the Greek language. So it is divided into the two part, pharmakon and poia. Pharmakon plus poia is equal to pharmacopoeia. The meaning of the pharmakon means drug. Pharmakon means the drug or the substance which is utilized for the treatment purpose. As well as poia means to make or to prepare. So this pharmacopoeia means nothing but the preparation of the drug. Then what is meant by the drug compendia? Drug compendia is nothing but one book contains the standards for the drugs and their related substances. It is called as drug compendia, or simply we can say a book containing the information about the drugs and related chemical substances. That is called as drug compendia. The example of compendia is pharmacopoeia and formularies. So this formulary, yesterday I have told you, formulary, it contains the name of the drugs which are utilized for the treatment purpose inside the hospital. So every hospital have their own book where there is the information of the various kind of drugs which are utilized for the treatment purpose inside the hospital. Then pharmacopoeia, it is also one book containing the information of the drug, and these both the examples are called as drug compendia. So in the both books, examples of the drug, name of the drug, information regarding their utilization, their testing, so everything is given. So that is, they are called as a drug compendia. So your drug compendia is nothing but the, we can say, one official book, and it is legally prepared one by every country, and it is issued by the recognized authorities of that country or the government of that country. It comprises or it contains the list of various drugs, various pharmaceutical substances, various formulas for the preparation of your dosage form and their standards. So this is the content of your drug compendia. Now the example of drug compendia I have told you regarding the pharmacopoeia and formularies. Now our basic aim is the study of the pharmacopoeia. Pharmacopoeia is nothing but the one example of compendia, and pharmacopoeia is also one bunch of the papers containing the list of drug, containing the information of the drug, containing the information of pharmaceutical substances which are required time to time for the preparation of dosage form. Now the list of pharmacopoeias. So every country having their own pharmacopoeia or every state or every country used to prepare their own book, and in that book they will give the list of the drugs which are prepared, which are utilized inside that country for the treatment purpose. As well as along with the name of the drug substances, they will add the other information regarding the drug substances, and that information will be utilized as a standard book for that country. So for the India, we are having the Indian Pharmacopoeia. For the United States, they are having the USP. In short, it is called as the United States Pharmacopoeia or the USP. For the India, we used to call it IP. It means Indian Pharmacopoeia. Then suppose if you consider about the British, then their pharmacopoeia is called as the British Pharmacopoeia, or in short, it is called as the BP. Then European Pharmacopoeia is there for the Europe. So for each and every country, they are having their own pharmacopoeia, and they used to edit it year-wise or as per their time spent, as well as as per their requirement, they used to edit it. So in our India also we are editing our Indian pharmacopoeia time to time as per our requirement. Then United States pharmacopoeia is also edited time to time. British pharmacopoeia is also edited time to time. Then after that, international pharmacopoeia is also there. International pharmacopoeia is a combination of the all pharmacopoeias uh, reference copy, but most probably each and every country used to refer their own pharmacopoeia. In India, we are giving the most preference to the British pharmacopoeia while preparing the dosage form, as well as we are referring the United States pharmacopoeia also and Indian pharmacopoeia also. Generally, sometimes suppose you want to launch our product into the other countries, then we have to follow their pharmacopoeia regarding the preparation of that dosage form. Now the classification of your pharmacopoeia. So it's very simple that pharmacopoeia or it is also called as the, we can say, compendia. Okay. There are the two types of compendia, that is official compendia and non-official compendia, or we can say official pharmacopoeia and non-official pharmacopoeia. Then official compendia is the, we can say, one reference standard of that country, or the, we can say, official pharmacopoeia which is prepared by the their recognized authorized body. So here your official compendia is nothing but your pharmacopoeia of your country, and there are the different examples of that official compendia or the official pharmacopoeia, that is called as a, we can say, Indian pharmacopoeia, British pharmacopoeia, then United States pharmacopoeia. So these are the examples of official compendia, or these are the examples of official pharmacopoeias. Then another type is the non-official compendia or the non-official pharmacopoeia. So in the non-official pharmacopoeia, there are the very few names, that is the Merck index as well as the extra pharmacopoeia. It is shortly called as the Martindale. Then United States dispensary. See, only these three books are coming in the your non-official compendia. Only these three books are called as a non-official compendia. Generally, non-official compendia or the non-official pharmacopoeia, they are used as a secondary reference book or the secondary reference resource of information regarding the preparation of the drug, regarding the manufacturing of the dosage form. So both the official pharmacopoeia and non-official pharmacopoeia, they are having the information about the drugs and their related substances. But we used to give the first preference to the official pharmacopoeias, and then if it is required, then we used to refer the non-official pharmacopoeia. So both are having the information regarding the drug. Only in the official pharmacopoeia there is the huge or the very broad information is there, but in case of non-official compendia, there is a little bit small information is available compared to the your official pharmacopoeia. Now we will see the Indian pharmacopoeia. As I have told you, pharmacopoeia is nothing but the information of the drug, and every country has their own book or their own pharmacopoeia. So our India is also having our pharmacopoeia, and its name is the Indian pharmacopoeia. So here, Indian pharmacopoeia, the first official pharmacopoeia of India is appeared in 1868. So before independence, we had our Indian pharmacopoeia, or we had our standard book of information of the drug in 1868, and it was edited at that time by the Edward John. Then in pre-independence times or before pre-independence days, British pharmacopoeia was used in India for the reference purpose. Then the colonial addendum of British Pharmacopoeia 1898 was published in 900. It was appeared as the Government of Indian edition in 1901. It means before the independence, we were referring the most probably British Pharmacopoeia for the all kind of information, and at the same time when the British Pharmacopoeia was published in 900, so it was also referred as the one Indian edition book in 1991. So after that, in 1946, Government of India issued a list of Indian pharmacopoeial drugs list. Or the in India, we have developed our own list of the drug, especially those drugs which were utilized at that time for the treatment purpose in India. In India. So we have developed that name of the drug or the name of the that list of the drug. So after that, the committee was formed inside the India itself under the chairmanship of Mr. R.N. Chopra. He was the chairman of one committee. That committee was developed to prepare the pharmacopoeia, and under him there was the 9 members, and they prepared this list of the drug. Actually, at that time, they thought to prepare our Indian pharmacopoeia. So before preparation of Indian pharmacopoeia or before preparation of that book, we should have the list of the drugs. We should have the information of the drugs. So for that purpose, they developed one committee, and that committee was worked under the Sir Aryan Chopra, and another 9 members were there. So these 9 members developed the list of the drugs which is to be added into the Indian pharmacopoeia. And then after that, the list was totally prepared by this committee under the chairmanship of R.N. Chopra, and the total committee belongs to the Department of Health, Government of India. And then after that, in 1948, Government of India appointed an Indian Pharmacopoeia Committee. See, before in 1946, they just prepared the list of the drug, okay, which will be added in future into our book. Just for the preparation purpose, they have taken the 2 years. Then in 1948, again another committee was established, and that committee have prepared the pharmacopoeia of our India. Then they have taken the near about 5 years to prepare that total pharmacopoeia. Even though list was already prepared, but again they have taken the 5 years. It means in 1948 they started to prepare the pharmacopoeia. Then after the 5 years, they tried to prepare the pharmacopoeia, and finally in 1955 they have finalized the first edition of Indian Pharmacopoeia. And that committee, we have practically or actually established our pharmacopoeia. That committee was worked under Dr. B.N. Ghosh. So this committee, which was under the Dr. B.N. Ghosh, they have actually published our Indian Pharmacopoeia's first edition in 1955. And those drugs which was added in that pharmacopoeia, the list of that drug was prepared in 1946 itself, and that list of drug was prepared by the committee under the Aryan Chopra. So here these are the two people. Aryan Chopra have prepared the list of the drug, and Dr. B.N. Ghosh have finalized your Indian Pharmacopoeia in 1955. Now, it was written in English language with the name of the drugs. Generally, the drugs which are written inside the Indian Pharmacopoeia, they are called as monograph. Listen carefully. The drugs which are written in your official pharmacopoeia, they are called as the monograph. It means, monograph means simply the information of the drug. or drug is also referred as a monograph. So at that time, it was prepared and near about uh, 300 drugs, 986 total monographs or the total drugs was included at that time. So 986 monographs or the information of 986 monographs was added in the first edition. Then after that, development was takes place and another some drugs was evolved at that time and we were utilize that drugs for the treatment purpose. So excluding the your pharmacopoeial drugs, other some extra drugs was also developed. So to add that drug into the list of your pharmacopoeia was not possible. So that's why in 1960, in 1960, supplementar, supplementary edition of our Indian pharmacopoeia was published. In 1960, we have published supplement of one small book for our Indian pharmacopoeia we have published and we have added the extra name of the drugs which was not previously included in our Indian pharmacopoeia. Then after that, in 1966, again the second edition of Indian pharmacopoeia was published. So in the second edition, we have added all the drugs. Again, we have added the remaining chemical or other information. And again in 1966, second edition of Indian Pharmacopoeia was again published under the chairmanship of Dr. B. Mukherjee. So Dr. B. Mukherjee is, we can say, have the another, we can say, work that he have developed the second edition of our Indian Pharmacopoeia. Again, the language was the same in English and the metric system was used for the expression of the various kind of dimensions, various kinds of measuring systems. Then tables and injections, usual strength have been given. So there was a little bit modification in the second edition. We added the metric system for the units as well as we have given the separate tables as well as the injections and their utilization. So little bit we can say modification was done in the second edition. Then in the second edition, additional 274 drugs or their information was added. And along with the second edition, 55 new supplementary books were also given. So 55 supplement were deleted from the second edition. As well as 93 new monographs were also added. Then supplement to the second edition of the Indian Pharmacopoeia was published in the 1975. Then 126 new monographs were added into this supplement. Then from the second edition, the name of cholera vaccine was deleted. There was might be some problem, that's why they have deleted the cholera vaccine name. Then the third edition of Indian Pharmacopoeia was published in 1985. And in this edition, they have divided this edition into the two parts. That is the volume 1 and volume 2. And inside that volumes, they were added the 9 appendices. 9 appendices means 9 parts for that one volume. Means one volume is having the 9 parts. Another volume is having the 9 parts inside the book itself. And in this third edition, they added the 261 new drugs. Previous drugs were there and additional 261 new drugs were added. And from the previous edition, 450 drugs were deleted. See here, already we had the drugs. And from the drugs we deleted 450 and additional new we have added the 261. Why we have deleted this previously? or from the previous list. Why we have deleted? Because some drugs may have found the toxic effect, some drugs may have shown the side effects, some drugs may have not that type of, we can say, required action. That's why that 450 drugs were deleted, or the information of the drugs was deleted from this book, and fresh new 261 drugs name was added. Then addendum first to IP was published in 1989 along with the new monographs. Then addendum 2 was published in 1991. These addendum are nothing but the, we can say, extra supplement. Suppose we have prepared today your pharmacopoeia, and after some days we found that some extra drugs also we have got, or some extra chemical information we had got. Then how can we add it again into this pharmacopoeia? Because immediately we cannot edit the prepared book. So we can prepare the small supplement, and in that supplement additional information we can add. When the number of drugs or the new number of drugs were increased, then we can prepare the another book. So Indian addendums were prepared or published in this wise. Then another, then fourth edition of Indian Pharmacopoeia was published in 1966. 1906. So in 1996 we have published fourth edition under the chairmanship of Dr. Nityanand. And in the fourth edition, what kind of changes was there? The fourth edition of the Indian Pharmacopoeia was made effective from 1st December 1996. In the fourth edition, we have covered near about 1149 total drugs, and in this fourth edition there was the 223 appendices, or the different parts, as well as we added extra 294 new drugs, and from the previous edition near about 110 old drug were deleted. Then for this IP or for this edition, addendum first has been made effective from 31st December 2000 with having the 42 new monographs or the 42 new drugs. Then addendum second was also made effective from the 30th June 2003 with new 19 drugs. Then in this supplementary we added the 208 new veterinary drugs also. So this was about your fourth edition. Then fifth edition of IP was published in 2007, and in 2007 addendum to this edition was made from the 2008. Then IP 2007 is prepared in the 3 volume. Volume 1 contains general notices and general chapters. Then volume 2 and 3 contain the general monographs on the drug substances and dosage forms. Then after that we have developed 6th edition of the Indian Pharmacopoeia, that was known as the IP 2010. Then the 6th edition of your Indian Pharmacopoeia is published by Indian Pharmacopoeia Commission, Ghaziabad. It supersedes the 2000 edition, but any monograph of earlier edition does not figure in this edition. This edition was effective from 1st September 2010. Then Indian Pharmacopoeia 2000 is presented in the 3 volume. Volume first was contain notices, preface and structure of the IPC. Then volume 2 was contain the general notices, general monographs of the dosage forms. And in the volume 2, it was having the information about drugs alphabetically from A to M. And into the volume 3, it contains the information of the drug from N to the Z. As well as it had the information about the vaccines, immunosera, then various kind of herbal medicines, then blood related products. Then they had the scope of pharmacopoeia. So general information also they were added into the IP 2010, as well as number of monographs of excipients, anti-cancer drugs, herbal products, and retroviral drugs has been increased in this edition. Means additional drugs they were added. Then drugs related to the vaccines, immunosera also upgraded. Then the 7th edition of Indian Pharmacopoeia was published in 2014. So it was published by the Indian Pharmacopoeia Commission, IPC, on the behalf of Government of India and Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. The Indian Pharmacopoeia 2040 is presented in the 4 volumes. The scope of Indian Pharmacopoeia has been extended to include the additional anti-cancer drugs, additional antiretroviral drugs and their formulations. As well as they have added the modern drugs which are based on the biotechnology, as well as endogenous herbs, herbal products, veterinary vaccines. Near about 2550 total monographs was added in this 2014 Indian Pharmacopoeia. As well as they have added 577 new drugs. After that, they added the radiopharmaceutical monographs also. This is the color of your Indian Pharmacopoeia. Indian Pharmacopoeia 1996, Indian Pharmacopoeia 2007, Indian Pharmacopoeia 2010. Color was just changed. See, this is the very short history of our Indian Pharmacopoeia. The year 1946, the government of India published the Indian Pharmacopoeia list only, list of the drug. Then 1948, the government of India constituted the permanent Indian Pharmacopoeia committee, and then that committee was assigned to prepare the pharmacopoeia. And finally, in 1955, the first edition of our Indian Pharmacopoeia was published. Then in 1966, the second edition of Indian Pharmacopoeia was published. Then in 1985, the third edition of Indian Pharmacopoeia was published. Then in 1996, the fourth edition of Indian Pharmacopoeia was published, and it had the 2 volumes. 1996, the fourth edition was came with the 2 volumes. Previous all the editions were had the only single volume, but after the 1996, as the information was increased, number of drugs was increased, so we have prepared the 2 volumes, and that both the volumes have the different information. So the 2 volume why we have created, because that length as well as the thickness was too much, so it was not easy to handle that book. That's why it was divided into the 2 part, volume 1 and volume 2. Volume 1 contains legal information, legal notices, acknowledgements regarding the that committee, general notices, monographs from A to A to O, and volume 2 contains monographs P to Z. It means information from alphabetically P to Z. So this was the regarding the 4th edition. Then physical test, microbiological assay, limit test, particulate matter, then other test, general information. Then 5th edition came into the 2007, 6th edition came into 2010, and 7th edition came into 2014. Then after that, this was about your Indian Pharmacopoeia. Then National Formulary of India. What is National Formulary? I have told you that the book which is utilized inside the hospital for the reference purpose, and that book contains the name of the various drugs and related substances. So that book is called as the National Formulary of India. So in India also we are having the National Formulary for the guidance of the medical practitioner or the physicians, as well as the medical students and pharmacists inside the hospital and in the cell department, National Pharmacy of India has been formulated. The first edition of National Pharmacy was came in 1960, which was published by the Indian Government of India, Ministry of Health. Then second edition was came in 1966. Third edition was came in 1979. So it contains the near to same information as your pharmacopoeia, but additional information which is required for the physician while treatment is regarding the drug interactions, drug resistance, then cumulative effects of the drugs, then drug dependence, then prescription writing. So these are the general information which are useful for the physician and medical student. So that's why national formulary is prepared in the various hospitals. So nowadays, every hospital used to develop their own national pharmacy. This is Indian national pharmacy, but every hospital, which is very much big one, or for example, Apollo Hospital is there. So they are having a very big branch. So they used to prepare their own formulary and they will use as a standard book for the treatment. Then British Pharmacopoeia. So British Pharmacopoeia is the book of British, and they have prepared and they have given their own name. The first edition of British Pharmacopoeia was published in 1864. There is a huge difference between India and British. So their Britishian first pharmacopoeia came in 1864 and Indian pharmacopoeia came in 1955. So this is the huge difference. Then after that, in the British Pharmacopoeia, it consists of two sections. First part is called as the Materia Medica and second part is called as the Preparation and Compounds. So as their language they have used as a Materia Medica, it means information of your medicaments. Then second volume or the second part is called as the Preparation and Compounds. So the British Pharmacopoeias second edition was came in 1867, fourth edition was came in 1898, fifth edition was came in 1914, and eighth edition was published in 1953. So in the edition, titles of drugs, preparations were wrote in the English language only, and they had the metric system for the determination of the units like kilogram, milliliter, centimeter. Then their pharmacopoeia used to publish annually. Then British Pharmacopoeia 2007 was also published. And they had the very specific ingredients and knowledge of the Chinese medicines also. Also, they have added the prolonged release drugs, slow release drugs, as well as the retentional drugs information. So in 2008, BP has also published their own pharmacopoeia in 2008, and in that pharmacopoeia, they given the information about the 3,100 monographs or the 3,100 names of the drugs, as well as this was made effective from the 1st January 2008. Then British Pharmacopoeia 2007 to 2009, they have published in the 6 volumes. So they had the very big or the huge information. So that's why they had divided it into the 6 volume. So the first and second volume contain the medicinal substances information. The volume third contains the formulated preparations as well as blood related products, immunological preparations, as well as the radiopharmaceutical preparations, surgical material and homeopathic preparation. Then the volume 4th of British Pharmacopoeia have the information regarding the supplementary chapters as well as the infrared spectra. So it is the knowledge regarding the chemistry. Then the volume 5th contain the information about the veterinary drugs or the dose drugs which are utilized for the treatment of the animals. Then volume 6 contain the one CD-ROM version. It means we can say it is the one CD. Then current edition of BP 2000 is in the process. Then 2010 British Pharmacopoeia is nothing but the, we can say, have the part of the medicines and healthcare products, and it is prepared by the regulatory agency of British government. It is the collection of the standard uh, drugs or the standard information they have given, which are utilized in the total UK. Generally, they used to publish annually these all the books. Then the British Pharmacopoeia 2013. The British Pharmacopoeia 2000 is the package includes the 6 volume printed edition, including the veterinary information as like as previous information. In the 2013 British Pharmacopoeia, there are the 14 new drugs, 14 new European pharmacopoeian drugs they have added, as well as they amended the 619 new monographs in their assembly. Then after that 2014, their British Pharmacopoeias came. In this pharmacopoeia, near about 3,500 drugs they have added. This is the color of British Pharmacopoeia. Little bit changes there in British Pharmacopoeia and Indian Pharmacopoeia. Then after that, United States Pharmacopoeia is there. The first edition of United States Pharmacopoeia was published on 50th December 1820 in Latin language as well as in the English language. This is the significant difference between all the pharmacopoeias. Only ESP or the United States Pharmacopoeia is having the published in two language, Latin and English. And first first United States Pharmacopoeia was came in 1820. From 1820 to 1942, it was published at 10 years intervals. So from 1942 to 2000, it was published at 5 years interval. Then from 2002, it was published annually. So previously they were preparing their book and they were publishing after the interval of 10 years. So now after that they reduce it up to the 5 years, and then after that they are preparing or they are publishing every year. Then the National Formulary of United States was published appear in 1888. The United States Formulary is generally comes along with the United States Pharmacopoeia. In combination, they used to publish it. It is called as the USP 21 and NF 16. So in combination, they used to publish nowadays these books. The first appear in January 1985. National Pharmacology was appear in 1985 in combination with the Pharmacopoeia. Then USP 22 and National Pharmacology 17 was appeared in 1919. Then after that, they were preparing and they were publishing these all the books in combination. It means USP, that is United States Pharmacopoeia, and National Formulary. In combination they were publishing, and they were published in the floppy disks or the CD form. The USP 23 and National Formulary 18 was published in Mumbai as an Asian edition at the end of 1994. So this was a special edition for the Asian countries and it was published in Mumbai. The United States Pharmacopoeia 23 has 10 supplements. It means this pharmacopoeia is having the additional information or the small books. They are called as supplements. The first supplement was published in January 1995 and last was published in 1999. The USP 24 and National Formulary 19 in combination was appeared from January 2000. The United States Pharmacopoeia 30 and National Pharmacopoeia 25 was appeared from May 2007. So United States Pharmacopoeia contains the scientific standards for the drugs, dietary substances, biological products, and excipients in the dosage form. In United States Pharmacopoeia contains 4,100 new drugs, total drugs, and 200 general chapters. Generally, it is printed in 3 volumes. United States Pharmacopoeia 30 and National Pharmacopoeia 25. It included the new heavier paper stocks, complete table of contents, index in each volume, special using the new SPNA print tutorial CD. So likewise, Indian Pharmacopoeia, they have they are publishing their every year their edition of the Pharmacopoeia with combination with the National Pharmacary. This is the color of United States Pharmacopoeia. So the last United States Pharmacopoeia 35 and National Pharmacary 30 was published in 2012. This is the color of United States Pharmacopoeia. Then after that European Pharmacopoeia was there. So European Pharmacopoeia Commission started to working since 1964 to prepare the European Pharmacopoeia. In short, it is called as the EP. The first edition was published in 1967. Second edition was published in 1980. Third edition was published in 1997. Fourth edition in 2001. Then fifth edition in 2004. And sixth edition in 2008. Seventh edition in 2011. And eighth edition is 2014. The 8th edition of European Pharmacopoeia was published in June 2013. This is the color of European Pharmacopoeia. It is blue in color. Then extra pharmacopoeia is there, or the non-official pharmacopoeia. So it is called as the extra pharmacopoeia. So it was published in 1883 by the William Martindale. That's why the name of that book is called as the Martindale, or it is called as the extra pharmacopoeia. It was produced by Royal Pharmaceutical Society of Great Britain. Generally, this Indian pharmacopoeia, extra pharmacopoeia, or the Martindale is meant for the medicinal practitioner and pharmacist. Generally, in this Martindale contain the journals and periodicals, licensed product, information of the literature, then World Health Organization publications, then government reports and legislation and other official standards. Then also it contains the name of the investigational drugs which are under the investigation, then information about the veterinary drugs, herbal drugs, pharmaceutical excipients, then nutritional agents, radiopharmaceutical drugs, contrast medias, then recreational drugs, vitamins, medicinal gases, disinfecting agents, information about the pesticides, information about the toxic substances,